Hi, my name is Heaven Darlene, and I am a survivor of abuse. I was molested the summer after kindergarten by a foster girl at my great aunt's house. I am 25 years old. I was born in Minnesota, raised in Minnesota. I just grew up in a home where it was very loving. My mom and dad, they got married young. I have an older sister who's 3 years older than me. And before I was born, my parents divorced. And so my dad went to the military, so he was gone. And so it was my mom, me, and my sister, like always. We were also tight with the rest of our family as well, doing lots of things, having reunions. We were always playing, like there was always a fun time. Family was very tight. My mom, she was a very strong person. She's very independent. She didn't like to ask anyone for help. She was always trying to do everything, make sure she had a job, make sure that she was providing for me and my sister. There came a time between after kindergarten, the summer, like after I got out of kindergarten, I started going to my great aunt's house, and my mom was making us lunches, and there was already a little weird things going on, like with lunches. Like I know we weren't able to, like we didn't eat the lunches. My mom was always wondering, which we have now talked about when I got older, that she would send lunches and like we wouldn't have, like we didn't eat them, or it was just something weird going on with that. The house that I was in, my great aunt, she kept mostly all of the great nieces, great nephews. And so we were all there. We were always having fun. She had those cars that you can drive by yourself, like trucks. And so it was always fun. It was like a 3-story house. And her daughter, her older daughter, lived there as well. And we were always having fun there. I couldn't complain at all. I was always outside. I was always doing my own thing. She also had foster children who lived there as well, who was older. Now, the house also gave an uneasy feeling at the same time, like when it would get to nighttime or get darker. She had like these big curtains that were kind of like dark. Anyways, there was this foster child that was also there, who was a female who was older than me. I'm there, and I know that it was my sister who was older than me, 3 years older than me. She was, for some reason, not in the same room as me. There was bunk beds in almost every room. I can't remember exactly how many rooms, but it was dark when it was nighttime. Like all lights are off, no lights. So I'm in this room with this foster child who has previously also been in my grandmother's house, who was a foster child to her, and went to my great aunt's. So she had some like mental things going on as well. I would be in the bunk bed. I was on the bottom. She was on the top. And I just remember like I was just laying there. I had my blanket on. I was comfortable. But she would come down there and she would lay right next to me, I remember. And I would be like a little confused, like, oh, this is not my sister. But I'm little, so I'm like, okay, like I know her, but all right. She's laying there. She would put her hand down there and touch me. I'm just silent. I'm just like, okay. I really don't know what's going on. And then I remember she would start kissing me, and I'm just quiet. She's not saying nothing, like no words. I remember she also, like, she never would tell me like, oh, and maybe I don't remember because of like even trauma block as well. But I don't recall her ever saying like, oh, keep this a secret or anything. She would just be quiet, go down there, touch me, and kiss me. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. But I remember I would watch these, and it was like every time it would happen, I would go down the stairs and I'm watching these scary movies late at night, like really, really late. And my great aunt, she would just come past and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, just watching movies. And either she would say, okay, when it's over, go back to bed. Because I just remember like just going back up there and like her doing these things to me again, touching me, kissing me. And this was the whole reason why I would always go downstairs. Starting in first grade, I remember there was one day I was with one of my best friends, and the teacher's like, okay guys, let's go pick out a book. Let's go, like, any book you want to read. And so I picked the book that's like with the animals, but I remember reading the book and it's showing like all the parts of the animal. I remember there was one gorilla and it was showing a female and a male, and so it's showing the parts, and I remember just like looking at it and I'm pointing to it and I'm like, oh, that's what that is. Like, I know what this does. Like, me really getting into it and staying on this one page. Like, and my best friend is like, okay, let's read the next page. I'm like, no, like, let's read this one right here. Like, I'm stuck on like these parts because now I know about them a little more. My mom was the type, she always talked to us about things, but I think the age that I was, like, she never really brought up like, oh, or probably thought about it because I was so little and she trusted family, you know, me being with family, where she wasn't like, okay, if somebody touches you down there, that's not okay. If they kiss you right here, that's not okay. Like, we never went through that or read anything where it prepared me like, okay, this is wrong, you need to tell them. I think like sexualizing a lot of things, and I didn't notice, so I didn't tell anybody this for like a while because I'm like, we always had fun, the family had fun, we're always outside, so like I'm always moving, I'm not sitting, I'm not thinking about it. I believe she went back there, or she stayed there for a little bit, and she would write certain things on the wall. Like, I remember in the bathroom, and I believe this was why she was kicked out, but she had like wrote like some bad things like in the bathroom that they still to this day, like it's not able to come off. So I went out there, my grandmother, she's sitting on the porch and she's chilling, and I just tell her like, she touched me. I just remember saying that. I didn't remember what else. And she was like, huh? What? Go get your mom. Go get your mom. And then she was like, she called my mom's name. My mom came out there, and all I remember after that, like, they were talking, and I know that this foster child was never allowed there again because they also found out other things that she was doing to other kids as well. So I got even a little older. I didn't see her for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, it's like I forgot about it. I seen her again, and I was a little older this time. I would say I was still in elementary. This had to be in 5th grade. It was like a basketball meeting or something like that. So it was me, this individual, and it was also my sister. And so my sister, we're here at the basketball game. We go to the bathroom. Like, this individual, she was like, okay, you want to go to the bathroom? Like, I wasn't even thinking about the bathroom. I'm like, oh, like, I'm having fun. There's basketballs around here. And I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. We go in these stalls. There's like 4 stalls. I just remember me being in one of the stalls, and she's like, stay right here in this one, and closes the stall. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting on this toilet like, all right, like, what's going on? Then my sister is in the other one. My sister was already in the other one, so it wasn't like she told her go in there or anything. Goes in the bathroom. She comes in and she has this lip gloss, and she's just putting the lip gloss on, and I'm just like, okay. And she starts kissing me. She puts on the lip gloss, she's kissing me. I'm like, all right. So I remember in that moment, it brought me back to what I kind of forgot. I'm like, wow. I'm like, but I didn't know any better. I didn't know what to do. I'm younger than her. She's older than me. She's taller than me. And so then my sister, she was like, what's going on? And then she goes into the other stall. All I remember is my sister like booking it, like running out of the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm used to this. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, why did she just run out of there? She runs out, and my aunt comes back in, and she's like, what are you guys doing? What's going on? Me, I'm just confused because I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm quiet. I just didn't know what to say. I believe at that point, like, once my sister ran, like, the stall was open and stuff. My aunt, she came in there, we got in trouble. It's like she got it, like, both of us got in trouble, and I'm just looking like now thinking back, I'm like, I'm younger than her. And I remember just having a conversation with my dad. I mean, a few years back, he was just telling me, like, because I told him I thought he didn't know about what had happened. And so a few years back, I talked to him, and he's like, no, I knew a little bit, but how they were like telling me, they were confused even when you came out the first time and you told them and you told your grandmother and they all talked about it, but you didn't say much. You were just like, she touched me. And so they didn't know where to go from there, or if it was real or whatever. And I was like, okay. But I know him and my mom apologized to me just because they're like, we didn't do anything about it. He said your aunt thought you were playing, like you guys were playing, like you were included in it. So she's coming in the bathroom, and your sister told her like what happened, and she's coming in there and she thought you guys were just playing. And I'm like, wow. Like, and that was really emotional, because I'm like, this, like, it wasn't my fault. Like, this is what she's doing to me, and I don't know what else to do. And I remember from there, life was pretty much like, I became a little more insecure. I remember it also, I can't think of the word of it, but it changed my like thoughts and my mind a lot. Like, even when it came to females, like, I was like, wow, okay. I'm like, I like girls, I guess. Like, this is who I am. Not noticing, like, there actually is people like, they're like, I'm gay, I'm this, this is what I like. And me, I couldn't really tell, because I also blocked it out for so long. Like, this is what happened to me, and so this might be the reason why I'm interested in this gender more than this gender. So I remember getting a little older, I was always looking at girls, and I'm like, and it was more like sexually, not like, oh, like I really like them. And then I remember, then I would feel like weird about it. I would have like flashbacks just bringing me back to when this individual, she was doing a lot of things to me multiple times. But I never noticed. I was just like, okay, like, what is this going on? Like, out of the blue, I would start thinking about it. And I'm like, but I would be very like uncomfortable at some points with being with females because of that. I remember I was a freshman in high school. I didn't see her for a long time, for years. I went to this church, and I remember at the time I also had a girlfriend. So like I was talking to a girl, but I just remember, and I think this came back to me not feeling in control of things. Like, these things were happening to me, and I wasn't in control of it at all whatsoever. Went to church, and I did not expect this at all. I seen this individual, like, it was like a long type hallway, but everybody's like gathering, church is over. And I see my girlfriend at the time, I'm talking to her, and then I instantly, like, I see from the corner of my eye, like, I know that's not her. Like, I know that's not. And so like everything was just rushing back, and I'm like, oh my, and I was feeling like anxious. I'm just like, what do I say? Like, I really hope she does not come up to me and say anything. And so I kind of just walk, like, I'm like, hold on. I told the girl, I was like, hold on, I'll be right back. So I'm just booking it, like, just trying to walk to avoid this girl, because she also has like mental things going on. She ends up coming behind me. All you feel is like a tap, and I'm like, it's like tap tap tap. I'm like, please. Like, I'm just like, please don't. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna say. And then she's like, hey, Heaven, what's going on? And I'm like, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. And she's just like, what happened? Like, she's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what are you sorry about? What are you sorry about? I end up walking away from her, and she's like, Heaven, wait. And she came in, and she just like, oh, hey, Heaven, what's going on? And it's like, no, that's no, why are you talking to me? And so I remember I didn't see her for a long time after that. I was like, okay. And so I just noticed with relationships, like, I was always like cutting them short, and I'm like, okay, this is too much, going to the next, especially if I didn't feel in control of it. Basically past the past few years, from, I would say, starting in 2018, I started seeing her like, and I thought it wasn't real. She started following me on the first social media, I believe it was Facebook, and she's messaging me like, hey, Heaven. And I'm like, I go to my stuff, I'm like, is she really still talking to me? So I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I remember talking to my mom about it, and she's like, do you want to just block her? Like, it's whatever you want to do. If you're uncomfortable with it, if you want to say something, say something. If you don't say anything, block. And I started noticing how it was affecting my life, like her following me on Facebook, then she started following me on Twitter, and it was like I was blocking her, and it's like she would find me again, and she would be on another page. I remember on one social platform, I'm looking back at her stuff, and I just see her with one of her sister had a kid, and I just see it's a little girl, and I see her like, she's like, I love watching my niece, and I'm just looking, like, it took me back, and I'm like, I really hope like the same thing isn't going on, because nobody's done anything about it. I get she also has mental things going on. Now my dad, when I talked to him, I remember I went to go visit my stepsister, went out there, and this was in, I would say, 2020. Went out there. I remember saying, Dad, can I talk to you? Like, I need to talk to you about a serious situation. And, you know, I'm grown now, and I'm like, I'm getting nervous and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if he knows about this. I'm just kind of uncomfortable at the same time, because I never talked to him about anything like this before. And so I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah. I finally came out with it, and I'm like, Dad, did you know that I was like, I didn't even get all the way fully done before he was like, I know. And I'm like, I didn't even know. I'm a person, I have a lot of emotions, but I think when talking about it in front of somebody, like, it's making it more real for me. Like, this really did happen. This really did happen. So I'm just sitting there, and I didn't know like what to say. And so he's like, it's okay. You don't have to, say anything. I know. And he was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry that happened to you. And I'm like, that's okay. He said, no. He said, it's not okay. He was like, it's not okay. He's like, don't say that because we're your parents. But he's like, we're your parents, and we're supposed to be there to protect you. We're supposed to take the right steps to help you because it wasn't your fault. He was just like, all they remember is you coming out there and you're just like, she touched me. And so they're like, okay, let's see. And so, I mean, they didn't let her around anymore. He had gave me a hug, and he was just talking to me and just saying like, just tell me like, you're a survivor. Like, and he's just like, I know this has affected your life in a big way. And he kept on just saying, I'm sorry. And I didn't know like how to like receive like what he was telling me, but I was like, thank you and stuff. And I'm like, it's, of course, me, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. He just kept saying, no, it's not. And, he gave me a hug and a kiss, and he was just like, I love you very much. And I am sorry again. Me and your mom are sorry. And I'm like, thank you. So when it came down to the lunches, I know they would be, because I remember she would ask them, like, she would ask her what we ate. And she would say it was totally something different. Like, I know my mom was like, I paid this money. I made you guys good lunches, had sandwiches in there, fruit, like, a variety of things. My mom made sure me and my sister was always good, not ever knowing what what was going on with her. I just remember she got them back. I don't remember. I didn't ask her if they were full, if they came back empty, but I remember her just telling me as I got older, like, I used to send lunches over there, and it's like, you guys are eating something totally different that wasn't even what I sent, and I'm spending my money on this, and it wasn't much that y'all was eating. Like, y'all were eating, but it wasn't much. Like, it's not the lunch that I sent for you guys. I remember having accidents. She would have these outfits. I think you would get them from Walmart or something, but they look like champion, like sweatsuits. And she had all these different colors. And I remember having accidents. Like, I probably had a lot of accidents where it's like, Heaven. And I remember it started after things started happening where I was having accidents, and I was very embarrassed, and my aunt would just like get me another pair of another outfit, but I was having a lot of accidents. We were there for the whole summer. I know school gets out, so this had to be this was weeks. I was there for weeks. It was like 2 months, like the summer. I know it was the summer, so it had to have been 1-2 months. So it was weeks. Like, and I was there. My mom went to work throughout the week, so every day I was there. This is a sign where you will see with your kids. They will act things out. Either they'll show like what's going on with them through toys, or they might on other people, or they either show like through anger, like them being angry. And so with me, I know growing up, like I wasn't always angry, but I did little things where it's like, what's going on, Heaven? And getting in trouble. I was always fighting. But that was definitely a learning experience where I feel like a lot of parents aren't able to get through because nobody also talks to them about putting your own trauma on somebody, on your kid or whoever younger. But going through the process with them, like watching videos, if you might not have TV or whatever, just reading things or just asking them like calmly so they're able to talk to you. Because sometimes if they're looking up and they're like, oh my gosh, they're older, and like you're always on them about something, or you're mad or you're angry, like how are they supposed to come and talk to you? I'm not glad or happy like, oh, this happened to me, but it definitely made me look at life differently. And it didn't affect me till I was really older. And then once I had my own kids as well, it's really changed me as a person to look out for those signs, or really like, not that my kids can't go anywhere, but I'm like, I really go off of, like, I'm really good at, like, when I meet somebody, like, I can kind of pick up like, so I feel like it's definitely changed me as a person with that, like what happened to me, because I'm like, okay, you're not just gonna go anywhere. And even if it is family, like, okay, let's start off with just a few hours, like a little bit, and then we'll turn it into, okay, spend the night. But I'm always checking on them because of what happened to me. I'm able to like point out or look at signs even with other people and see like maybe like other kids that I know or anything like that. I'm able to pick up and be like, that's not, normal, anything like that. So I feel like I really like that I'm very just, I can pick up on those vibes. I'll say that's the biggest thing that I can really think of, which I really like, that I can just go up to a person and be like, wow, okay, I know who you are.